My name is Jonathan Dugan, and I am an Enterprise Account Executive here at Bluebeam. I want to personally thank each and every one of you for joining us today. Joining me will be Molly Weber, a Technical Account Manager here at Bluebeam, and she'll be showing us all the new enhancements in Review 2019.
Hi, Jonathan.
Hey, Molly. Additionally, we have Natalia Castaneda, Senior Product Marketing Manager, and she'll be sharing stories from our beta testers who help shape our new releases. All right, let's get started. Here's the agenda for today's webinar. We'll share a bit of our company background for anyone that's new to Bluebeam. We'll also share the new enhancements that are in Review 2019, which is available today. Then Molly will provide a demo of Review 2019 so you can see the new features in action. Finally, Natalia will share some stories from our beta testers. And then we'll close with time for your questions. So let's dive in. If you're new to Bluebeam since 2002, we've empowered 1.6 million unique users across 130 countries to advance the way our world is built. Bluebeam Review is our flagship solution, and it helps teams simplify complex processes and collaborate in real time to finish projects on schedule and under budget. We take a customer-centric approach to product development, working closely with the industry partners to design simple, smart solutions that save time and money. As the industry has grown, so have we. Bluebeam has since opened additional offices in San Diego, Chicago, Dallas, Manchester, New Hampshire, and London, Stockholm, and Munich. Review is a project efficiency and collaboration solution built specifically for the AEC industry, empowering people like you to do your best work. But more than that, our goal is to address our customers' tangible business challenges. During our events, such as XCon, Bluebeam user groups, trainings, etc., we've heard that these challenges include increasing revenue with maximized productivity, reducing costs with improved project predictability, and minimizing organizational risk. As we continue to develop and improve our solution, we keep these business objectives in mind to ensure we deliver maximum value to our customers. We have centered this release around 3 key themes: efficiency with enhanced rendering, speed and accuracy with quantity takeoff improvements, and standardization with the new Review configuration editor. Now, before turning it over to Molly to demo new functionality, let me tell you a bit more about what you can expect. Review 2019 will have a new hardware accelerated rendering engine. This will allow you to pan and zoom throughout complex line work quicker. How much quicker? 6 times faster. Additionally, Review 2019 empowers you to gain full control of your next quantity takeoff by delivering the accuracy and speed that you need. And last but not least, we're introducing the Review configuration editor, which allows you to easily standardize how Review is deployed across your organization by managing access to the right features, plugins, and settings. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Molly so that she can demo.
Thanks, Jonathan. Rendering improvements affect every single customer who opens Review. It doesn't matter your role. You could be a project engineer, an administrative assistant, or even a principal at an architecture firm. When rendering is poor, it's frustrating and you become less efficient. So when we started to dig into rendering improvements, we needed to determine how our customers were interacting with PDFs within Review. We heard from many of you that part of your day-to-day work is navigating through drawings with complex line work. From your feedback and our internal research, we focused our attention on document load times and document interaction, including panning and zooming, switching pages, and moving your markups. So up until Revu 2018, our default rendering engine was GDI, which is the default graphics interface that comes with Windows. The limitation of GDI is that it doesn't allow access to GPU, which is your computer's graphics card, to allow for faster responsiveness as you navigate through your drawings. So for Revu 2019, we made the switch to Skia, which is an open source library. Skia allows us to gain access to GPU, which gives us the improvements we need for document interaction and load time. So to view and change these graphics within Revu, we'll switch over and I'll share my screen. Click on the Revu dropdown at the top. If you're unfamiliar with the Revu dropdown, you can do things like change from markup mode to view mode, change over to a variety of different profiles, and even adjust your keyboard shortcuts. But for the purpose of changing our hardware accelerated rendering engine, we're going to select Preferences. So within the Preference dialog box, there's several options that you can do to customize Revu, things like changing your theme from dark to light mode, adjusting things like studio preferences, and even auto-sizing your text box and callout markups. So I'm going to actually come over to the Advanced tab, which shows our different rendering options for Revu. In the top dropdown, we're going to see hardware, software, and legacy. So the hardware option uses the Skia engine with GPU enabled. Software uses Skia engine without GPU enabled, and legacy uses our old GDI rendering engine. The good news is if you're installing Revu for the first time or upgrading from a previous version, Revu will default your rendering option to hardware. No need to change anything to enable these new features. While hardware is the option we recommend, the other two are fallback options for scenarios like your GPU isn't working properly or you're working in a virtual environment. So the reality is that not all PDFs are created equal, and there are some poorly created PDFs out there. I think we've all experienced that. Performance could vary based on a variety of factors, and we want to provide you with the options based on the PDF you're interacting with. Ultimately, by creating this improvement, our users can be more productive and efficient with their time, not having to wait for complex PDFs to render and load. So next, we're going to shift over to a video that's going to show the differences with our new hardware accelerated rendering engine. So what you're going to see on the left is a comparison of our two versions. The screen on the left is Revu 2017, while the screen on the right is showing Revu 2019. You'll notice the panning across the page is very minimal on the panning and zooming on the right, while there is a bit of load time and lag with the PDF on the left. Let's say you're one of the attendees who said that they have Revu open on their machine for 4 to 8 hours per day. If you're viewing PDFs with complex line work and hundreds of markups, you've probably experienced a scenario on the left where you have to wait for the PDF content to load. Now, when you upgrade to Revu 2019, you'll cut down on those load times, allowing you to spend more time on those productive tasks like doing takeoffs and participating in studio sessions. Okay, so next, updates to our measurements in Revu 2019. And with 2019, we're providing a better way to ensure the accuracy of your takeoffs. And when it comes to measurements, you let us know that this all begins with the page scale. So in Revu 2019, we made the process of viewing and setting page scales more straightforward. Let's jump right into Revu. All right. So we made different kind of updates to Revu interface. The first being when I open up my thumbnails tab, you'll notice right away that we added the page scale with the thumbnail that you can see the scale set, or if a scale isn't set on that PDF. So our site plan, for instance, shows us a scale of 1 inch equals 40 feet, whereas this floor plan level 2 doesn't have a scale set on this particular sheet. If you scroll down to the lower right-hand corner in the navigation in the status bar, you'll also see if there's a scale indicated on the PDF. This particular page says scale not set. But let's pretend that I'm a brand new user in Revu, still learning the ins and outs of the different takeoff tools. So I'm going to take a perimeter measurement for base molding. So naturally, I zoom in on the room that I'm focusing on, I grab my perimeter tool, and I start clicking around the perimeter of this space. And because I've got that snap to content turned on, it snaps to those vector content, vector lines, making my measurement as accurate as possible. Now when I click enter, it brings up a set scale dialog box with two different options. So for those familiar with review scale options, you'll recognize this top option to calibrate. So you would use this instance in case someone has resized this page. I can choose this option to select 2 points and enter a known dimension. This is still the recommended method for calibrating. But I also have the option to select an input method. So let's say I've got these drawings directly from my architect who's assured me that they came straight from AutoCAD or Revit. That means I can probably use the manual input option and select a scale. So when I get to the Set Scale dialog box and select the preset dropdown, it gives me a list of commonly used presets within the construction industry. I can scroll through, find the measurement that I'm looking for, the 1/8 inch equals 1 foot. I can select that preset, and I can also adjust things like precision and page range. But let's say I'm working with a custom scale and I don't see the item in the drop-down list that I'm looking for. I can come over to the custom section and manually input that information here. But lastly, let's say I change my mind and I decide I want to go back and calibrate based on a known dimension instead. I can select the calibrate button, jump back to the previous page, and then kind of select those two known points. So I'm going to apply scale, apply this measurement, and now I've got an updated measurement of 60 feet, 3 inches. And as I continue with the rest of my takeoff, I don't have to contend with more interruptions, and I'm confident in the accuracy of my numbers. So other updates that we made to Review 2019 include the ability to define independent units and other settings right from the property toolbar. So I'm going to jump back into Review and open up my site plan. Okay, so this is a big new feature, especially for our civil customers. So in previous versions of Review, measurements were tied to page scale. So if you were working on a plan that had a variety of different measurement types, think square footage and cubic yards, all measurements would be displayed one way based on the page scale, so if you wanted to find a volume measurement to display it in cubic yards, you would need to add something like a viewport and set that at a different scale. And this wasn't a very intuitive solution for our users, creating more work. So by using our new units dropdown, we can define units for any measurement you want without adjusting the scale or going into the measurement panel. So as I zoom in on this site plan I have here, I can see I already have some existing measurements. I've got a few asphalt measurements which are being displayed in square feet, but the area that I want to focus on is this particular concrete walkway in the middle. I want to be able to take a volumetric measurement and have that unit displayed in cubic yards. So I'm going to use my dynamic fill tool for this particular measurement. I like to use dynamic fill for complex spaces and shapes that may be irregular and hard to click through. If I were to use the volume measurement tool for this particular measurement, it would definitely take me 10 times as long. So at the top, when I click dynamic fill, it brings up a property bar where I can define things like boundary lines and select my fill tool. So when I click fill, I can click and drag my mouse, filling this entire concrete walkway just in a matter of seconds. That was pretty fast. So now I need to tell Review what to apply to this area that I just filled. You can do a variety of different things like create spaces, area measurements, perimeter, but in this case, I'm going to select my volume tool and I'm going to select the volume drop down, and I have a few different options of volume measurements that I can apply. I can use my default properties, or if I have any custom volume measurements that I've saved to a tool chest, I can select those options as well. So I have one that's labeled specifically for concrete. So I'm going to select apply. It applies that measurement. And now when I click my tag here and hold shift, I can move this label out of the way to see a little more clearly. So now I've got a concrete measurement of over 146,000 cubic feet. But like I mentioned before, I want to be able to display this measurement in cubic yards. So now when I have the measurement highlighted, it brings up the property panel at the top, including my new units dropdown, new to Review 2019. So I'm going to change volume from cubic feet to cubic yards. And in this window, you can also adjust the depth. So I'm going to change the depth from 8 feet to 6 inches. And now I've got my measurement displayed here of 338 cubic yards. Okay, so now I've got my different measurement types, excuse me, 13,000 square feet of asphalt, and then my 338 cubic yards of concrete. The last update that I want to show, integrating tools for the property toolbar, is the option to quick view running totals for different measurement types. So I have my concrete measurement selected. If I go over to the top to the totals dropdown, gives me my running total for my volume measurement. I can also detach this window and pull it anywhere else on my monitor. Now when I come back to my page and highlight my concrete measurement, I come in and select a few different measurement types for my asphalt. It also updates the totals here within my totals window. If I'm more comfortable working within the measurement panel, I also have incorporated lots of these options here, things like adjusting your preset scale and defining units as well. So now for a quick run through of our configuration editor. So for our new configuration editor, we wanted to create a tool that helps the IT staff that configures Review and pushes it out to every machine within the company. We heard that we needed to lower the barrier and administrative strain of deploying tools across organizations so that standards could be shared in a consistent and effective way. So now our configuration editor allows your IT staff to deploy things like profiles, tool sets, and plugins, so everyone has the same consistent information. As you can see from the two screenshots here, deploying Review with Review 2018 on the left-hand side was an exercise in programming or using a cumbersome MSI editor. So with the new configuration editor, we chose which settings to enable and disable, and then you can publish a package ready to deploy. So on the next screen, you'll also see a few different options. So the configuration editor isn't just for new deployments of Review. You can also deploy patch updates, additional extensions like profiles and tool sets, and check your licensing information. And then lastly, on the next slide, we can see all the different features within Review that you can turn on and off through the configuration editor, including those Bluebeam Review plugins for Review CAD or Extreme. I'll just add a note here that with the Review 2019 version released today, we've also added support for plugins that you use every day, including Revit 2020, AutoCAD 2020, SolidWorks 2019, and Microsoft Office 2019. So the configuration editor isn't something you'll find within Review itself. It's part of our deployment package available for download through our Bluebeam support page. And to close, by creating a standard, easy-to-use editor, it removes the possibility of error and mitigates the risk of having to reconfigure and redeploy Review. It increases standardization of how Review is used across the organization, which boosts project consistency. And lastly, it brings awareness of the tools to the IST staff that they may have not been aware of previously, but would be a big benefit to their end users. All right, that's all for me. We're going to turn it over to Natalia now to talk about our beta testers.
Awesome, thank you, Molly. So we also wanted to share some of the stories and insights that we have heard from our beta testers about this new release. First of all, I really want to thank all of our amazing beta testers for providing really valuable feedback that helped to shape this release. Our product development process is grounded on our partnership with customers like you, who are building the world around us. Our goal is to develop solutions that empower you, so we're always looking for ways to engage directly with you through programs like our beta testing program, our user groups, and user conferences. This year, we had over 700 beta testers and expanded our reach to include more and more of our testers internationally. In fact, we had over 150 international beta testers. We work closely with them to really understand their pain points and needs related to their specific regions. For instance, we ask them about the most common skills that they use and how they use them. Information like that can really help inform our product localization efforts. All right, so now I'm going to share some of what we heard from our testers. As Molly and Jonathan mentioned, this year's release is all about efficiency. And when it comes to efficiency, the ability to quickly navigate through document sets is crucial. As one of our testers, a project coordinator at George J. Eigel & Co. said, rendering plays such a huge role in my day-to-day viewing of many construction documents, especially plan documents that are large in quantity and size. I understand that computer hardware also has a role to play, but any improvements to rendering from the software side is always a plus. And we absolutely agree. We're excited to introduce Revu's new hardware accelerated rendering engine. Whether your project document has 10 markups or 10,000, Revu 2019 gets you the information that you need faster. As my colleagues mentioned, we're also introducing improvements to our measurement tools. Our beta testers told us that one of the most critical challenges when it comes to quantity takeoff is making sure that the scale is set correctly. As one participant, a planner at JKV Realty said, it's a big risk of forgetting to set the scale. In the past, we have had big problems using the wrong scale and estimating with incorrect quantities. Prompting the user is a step to minimize that risk. And that is exactly the driving force behind the new automatic prompt for scale in Revu. And we also heard from our testers that throughout their projects, they often need to take kind of quick measurements or validate certain measurements. With the new improvements to the measurement panel, testers found it easier to find the information that they needed. So as a project engineer at Miller Electric Company mentioned, the new panel makes the workflow more seamless, as most of my takeoff is done with counts, poly length, and perimeter. All right, so the last area that I want to cover is standardization. For the new configuration editor that Molly showed a few minutes ago, we set up a set of dedicated interviews with customers to really understand their pain points and needs related to setting up and rolling out Revu in a consistent way across their organization. We learned that those in charge of deploying Revu, so a lot of you who are in the IT role, spend a lot of time setting up the process. That means accessing all the information that you need to effectively deploy Revu, configuring the actual deployment to ensure all the right elements are activated, etc. When we showed them the new editor, customers were excited about being able to standardize how Revu is used across their organization and speed up the configuration and deployment process. They mentioned that the tool not only optimized the process, but removing a lot of the manual work that Molly was showing in that previous slide, but also exposed them to new options that they weren't even aware of before. So those were just some of the few nuggets that we wanted to share about our testers as you're getting ready to check out the new release. And for more information about the new functionality in Revu 2019, you can visit our support site. On our support side, you'll be able to find training videos, such as the 2 videos that are highlighted here for quantity takeoff and the configuration editor. Also a dashboard that shows you how to get started with Revu, and release notes and all kinds of information to continue to learn about Revu 2019. Great. So lastly, I also wanted to share with you some of the ways that you can stay connected with the Bluebeam community. As I mentioned before, we're committed to partnering and learning from customers like you, as well as connecting you with each other. There are many opportunities for you to get involved, including our user groups. Some of you actually in this call may already be part of our regional user groups, but some of you may not be aware, so wanted to share that those are groups that meet regularly to discuss industry-related best practices, trends, and tips and tricks. You can find a complete list of our regional bugs on our community section of our website. So XCon, this is our annual user conference. This year, we had over 1,000 participants join us in Washington, D.C. for 2 days of learning and connecting. Next year, we're actually going to be in San Diego, and we look forward to seeing all of you there. Our beta program. Our beta testers get a behind-the-scenes look at our upcoming releases and provide valuable feedback, such as the ones that we showed earlier. And then our customer development program. So participants in this new program have an opportunity to really shape the future of our products and services through participating in activities such as prototype testing, focus groups, and on-site interviews. All right, so with that, I'll turn it over to Jonathan.
Thanks, Vitalia and Molly. Now, before we start taking some of your questions, if you're interested in upgrading to Review 2019 or purchasing new seats of Review, click the link in the slide deck after you've downloaded or visit go.bluebeam.com/2019-review. You'll also want to add on maintenance if you aren't already an active maintenance subscriber. With active maintenance, you'll receive direct phone and email access to our experienced technical support staff during regular business hours, free upgrades to the latest version of Review while your term is active, and the ability to easily upload and distribute mobile optimized drawing to any device in the field with Bluebeam Drawings. If you want to make sure your entire team has access to the most current drawing set, Drawing is a great option for free mobile viewing. Again, we'd just like to thank everybody for taking time out of their day to attend our Review 2019 launch. Please, please, please fill out the survey at the end and let us know what you thought. Remember, you can go here to upgrade or purchase Review 2019, and we hope to see you all next time.